completely.
Yeah, and sector 1 and 2 are going to be really hard to make an overtaking move unless somebody makes a mistake in front of you. Really, the overtaking areas for me are sector 3. You have, like you say, a massive long straight which comes out of a technical section. So if you make a mistake at some point in that technical section, you're going to have a bad run on the straight. Turn 15, that also sets you up for a good overtaking opportunity down into turn 1 as you come across the line. And turn 1, turn 2, that's again two more opportunities.
Well, Citroen's Jose Maria Lopez claimed pole position for race 1. Race 2 pole goes to Hugo Valente, the Frenchman, with Quinqua Ma alongside him. So Ma, in his first race weekend at Citroen, will start on the front row for race 2 with a great opportunity to open his account in terms of potentially winning races. The big news from qualifying, though, was Ivar Muller, under pressure and over 40 points behind in the championship standings, dropped the car off the road in the end of Q2, didn't make it through into the top 5 in Q3, so he will start in 6th position on the grid with a lot of work to do. His 2 teammates, Sebastian Loeb, a row in front of him. There you can see the number 9 car of Loeb, and Jose Maria Lopez on pole position. And Lopez, 5 points more added to his advantage over Muller yesterday in qualifying. He got 5 points for pole. Muller got nothing for 6th position, so it went from 41 to 46 points behind. And Loeb, in the top 5, also closed on Muller. So Muller's only 2 points ahead of Loeb. He is almost in the position where he's the last of the Citroen drivers again. And that's a massive pressure for him because he's now got, after this, 12 more races, and he's going to end up basically a full race weekend apart. He has got to outscore Lopez now for every race for the rest of the season just to stand a chance of being in the championship frame. There's a former Russian GT ace, Sergei Afanassiev, down on the grid with the great and the good.
Yokohama, your tire. Yokohama, your tire.
Well, with the cars bathed in bright sunshine here at Moscow, temperature already in the mid to high 20s. There is a decent chance of big thunderstorms coming in later on this afternoon. From our position high above the circuit, we can see lots of fluffy white clouds, but not the big black heavy skies that we saw that preceded yesterday's pre-qualifying downpour. Hugo Valente here in 10th place on the race 1 grid, and that means pole position for race 2. Very amiable young Frenchman, also very quick, but I wonder how he'll respond to the pressure of having a Citroen alongside him and the whole of the rest of the field in his mirrors for the start of race 2.
Yeah, Valente is no stranger to running at the front of races he's done in the past, but World Touring Car level, the first time he run at the front of this kind of standard, he'll find himself up there and think, oh God, who's in front of me, who do I follow? And it's a really tough act to follow when you're the guy having to set the pace and you've got all these guys, the best in the world, snapping at your heels.
Well, this is Quinqua Ma, the Chinese youngster. Hasn't raced in 18 months, but he has the first of his Citroen performances here this weekend. He'll race also in Spa in a fortnight's time. That's our last European race. And then he will race at all 3 Chinese venues as well, because the race in Sonoma, California has been cancelled because of logistical reasons. I understand there's a major problem with the Panama Canal. And of course, the cars are due to go there from Argentina, which will be the race after Spa. So we understand that there will be 2 mainland China races. Japan at Suzuka on the full Grand Prix circuit, which is going to be almost as epic as Spa itself, and then the final in Macau, of course, which is again part of China. It's an independent financial area outside Chinese normal government rules, but it is still a Chinese race. So Ma racing 3 times in his native land, if you like, for Citroen, which is good news for them. It's their biggest export market. We're looking at Norbert Mikulits in his Zengo Motorsport Honda, and alongside him here, Mehdi Banani in his Honda. We caught up with him yesterday, Harry, to talk about the difference. He started in front-wheel drive touring cars, Renault Clios and so on, and then he had 2 years in the BMW. The second year, he really looked like he was getting on top of it, really understood it well. I said, you know, has it been hard to transfer back to front-wheel drive? He said, no, it's great. I'm home.
Yeah, and he did really well towards the end of last year, and he's always showed flashes of brilliance. Last year he was pretty impressive, and this year he seems to be getting on really well with the Honda. And yesterday's a perfect example. Qualifying ahead of Mikulits, I can't remember anyway the last time that he ever did that.
and only just behind the reigning world champion Ivan Muller, who, as we said, dropped the car off the road on his hot lap to try and get through into Q3 and ends up in 6th position as a result. Down with him on the grid is Legs Legui. So let's hear from our world champion.
Ivan Muller, you start in 6th for this position. Tell me what your strategy is.
My strategy is to push as hard as I can. I hope to do a good start, and then we will see. Of course, it will be probably some battle on the front, and I hope to be in the battle.
There is quite a good mix of people in front of you, isn't there? It should be quite a good race.
I will tell you that in about half an hour, but when you look all the cars in front of me, they are all fighting drivers, so it can happen something.
Excellent, thank you, Ivan.
Okay, Legs, you need to get out of there. So cars down, 3-minute board is being shown and the grid is being cleared, and that includes our TV crew. So expect nothing else from Ivan than a fighting charge. We know historically he is at his most dangerous when he's been backed into a corner by events, and he is not going to go down without a fight. That much we know.
Yeah, we saw that in the championship fight against Rob Huff 2 years ago. He looked like a beaten man till about halfway through the season, and all of a sudden reared his head, and from there on in he kind of fought his way back into the final round with still in contention with a chance of winning the championship. So he's far from written off, although he does have a steep hill to climb. But if anyone can climb that hill, I guess it's Ivan. You know, he's probably the best guy who's ever raced in the World Touring Car Championship, and you know, he's definitely in the best car, so definitely don't write him off.
Well, he starts a row behind Sebastian Loeb, who lines up in 4th position. Great qualifying lap from Loeb. Again, got into Q3. Yeah, he's had pole position and wins already this season, and there's absolutely no question that this guy is the real deal in a racing car as well as in a rally car. Well, we're not going to get a chance to talk to Gabriele Tarquini. Alex went down there, but the door's already shut. He's on the front row of the grid. This is his teammate Tiago Monteiro, who lines up in 3rd, and for a long moment it looked as though Honda might get a 1-2. Tiago was top of the pile, Gabriele then went quicker than him, and in the end they were both pit by a Citroen. But great performance. Well, let's hear from Tiago. Alex Legui is right down there with a little under 2 minutes to go.
Tiago, you have a really fighting chance here. What is your strategy going into the first corner?
Obviously, I have to try to get a good start, as we've done in the last few races. The start will be very important. I'm willing to take a lot of risks. I don't have a lot to lose in the championship, you know, so I'm going to be aggressive. Let's see what's the outcome.
How was the run?
All right, well, that is exactly what Gabriele Tarquini told us yesterday as well, Harry.
Yeah.
They're no longer even in their wildest mathematical fantasies are they championship contenders, but they want to win races. They want to win races. Honda has not yet won this season, and Tarquini said, I'm going to lay it all on the line. I'm going to be hyper aggressive into the first corner. And he knows that our pole position sitter, Jose Maria Lopez, has got a championship to win and a championship lead to defend. And if push comes to shove, he's going to leave the door open. And Gabriele's relying on that.
Lopez doesn't need a DNF. That's basically why he's so far ahead of Ivan Muller, and that'll be very utmost in the forefront of his mind, that he doesn't need any DNFs, and Muller almost needs him to have them. So, you know, that you've got the two Hondas there, like you say, they don't have any championship to fight for at the moment, and they're out there to win races for the Honda brand. And it was funny in the press conference, they both said it, and you could see Lopez's face. He was obviously thinking, I don't really like the idea of that. It's almost like a bit of a vague threat from the two Honda drivers.
Where performance matters, you'll find Total Quartz. Where performance matters, you'll find Total Quartz.
Welcome back to Moscow Raceway. You can see the final car on the grid. Our new local driver, Nikita Misulia, in his Seat Leon, and world champion Ivan Muller. There is the Lada team. Well, for a while, it looked as though we might get 2, maybe 3 Ladas, 3 into Q2. But in the end, they were just bounced out by recovering Chevrolets. Jose Maria Lopez, our pole man, bringing the Citroen to the grid. There is the flag of Argentina. on his tyre trolley and on the window of his Chevrolet, of his Citroen, beg your pardon. And behind Thiago Montero, the two red, white and green Castrol Hondas, second and third on the grid. Gabriele Tarquini, Thiago Montero, fourth Sebastian Loeb. So Citroen, Honda, Honda, Citroen, and the man on pole with the most to lose. Now, does he go hard into the first corner and try and snatch the lead using his pole advantage?
He has to. He can't afford not to. He's got the two Hondas which don't have anything to lose, but he's also got Muller, who he can't afford to get him beaten by either.
Green flag waves at the back of the grid. The red lights are on for the first race in Moscow, and away they go. The fastest starter in World Touring cars is on the inside. Gabriele Tarquini is alongside already and will take the lead into the first corner. Lopez goes a long way around the outside. He's got to give himself room, and driving around the outside seems to be working. He used a little bit of runoff, bit of confusion behind, no damage done as Hugo Valente comes back on. But Tarquini is the single best man away from the standing start. He's in second. Muller looks like he's got through into third, or was that Loeb? It was Loeb into third, ahead of Montero as we ride with Muller. So Lopez got what he needed. He got the lead and he got the Hondas in front of his team rivals.
Perfect start and a brave move around the outside there as well, and he had to do that. You know, he couldn't afford to just give up and let them drive away.
The first of the Larders has bombed through past Dusan Borkovic. That's Rob Huff on the attack from 13th up to 12th. And there you can see the problem for Ivan Muller. Not only is he behind Lopez, not only is he behind Loeb, but he's got the two Hondas in front of him as well. And he's got Tom Chilton right behind aggressively. And there you can see Rob Huff again behind the yellow car. Hugo Valente down the inside, using the tiny Larders size to sneak up inside Valente, who drops a spot. Because he knows in the yellow and white car he's starting race 2 from pole. Avoid damage, because there's no time between the two races. They're back to back here. If you get damaged in race 1, you lose pole in race 2 perhaps.
Absolutely. Huff's on a bit of a charge there. He's got on the back of that leading pack there, so yeah, great effort for the Larder.
Lopez leads, Tarquini second, Loeb third, Muller having a look inside Montero, who is not going to give that position up. Muller is going to have to grab it with both hands. Montero in deep. Once Muller got down the front straight, it's not a long enough straight to really use a slipstream. Further back you can see Mehdi Benani defending against Tom Coronel. And that's Benani in 9th, Coronel in 10th. Well, Lopez's major point of drama, Harry, the first corner at the start, he's dealt with that, he's got it behind him now, head down and charging, 16 laps, checkered flag, maximum point score, that's all he can think about.
Yeah, he qualified absolutely stunningly yesterday, perfect job done, and that what he did at the first corner there, he had to be brave, and he was. We saw him come across from the outside, he squeezed Gabriele, but not too much, and they managed to hold it right around the outside, and fair play if he does manage to hold on and take the win.
Well, he is pulling away fast. Tarquini in second place. And do you know what? Even if Loeb gets by Tarquini in a couple of laps' time, he'll have less tyre to play with as the race progresses. Lopez does. He'll have to work his tyres harder to catch Lopez. And Lopez will have not only time on his side, but a tyre advantage later in the race as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He can control the race from where he is now. And like you say, he's starting to gap the cars behind him. So, dare I say, job done.
Well, part 1, it's not the end, it's not even the beginning of the end, but it is the end of the beginning. Gabriele Tarquini in second place, pulling away from Sebastian Loeb. Loeb's car not good in that technical section, and not enough, again, enough straight line here for him to really haul up behind the Honda.
We know that the Hondas are very fast on the straights as well, and they're also pretty stable, but that could be where they start to struggle later in the race. You know, we've seen all weekend that the Citroens have been loose at the back end, so I would guess that they're going to look after their front tyres a little bit better.
Qinghua Ma is the fourth of our Citroens, and Hugo Valente and Dusan Borkovic have gone off. And Valente, damaged right front corner. If it is, he's got to get it into the pits now. He's at the final corner. He can't turn into the pit lane from there. Borkovic at the inside, fully locked up. Now, remember we said he had a drive shaft or some other vibration in free practice and qualifying? I wonder if something's just completely broken and locked the front end solid on his car, because that looked from a long way back like it was not a pass.
Very possibly, it could be the case, but I do tend to think that might have just been a bit of an error, to be honest, and he's just left us braking a little bit too late and had nowhere to go, unfortunately.
the thing is, he was locked up for so long, and the circuit's not particularly clean. This is the first major race weekend they've had here, but Duchan would absolutely not have wanted to hit Valente. You know, they're both in the same boat. They're both raising the sponsorship for their drive, and he knows how much it must mean to Valente to start on the front row again, and for his sponsors to be seen on pole and leading the race, and that'll be killing him that he's actually perhaps been party in that car not taking part in race 2 from pole.
Absolutely, it was definitely not intentional, but you could see that, in my view, I think what he's done is hit the brake a little bit too hard, maybe a little bit too late, and once you lock the front wheels in these cars, because the diffs are so stiff, it's very, very hard to unlock it, and you might have come off the brake pedal, but it's all the transmission is locked up, and I think that's, from what I think that's what happened there.
On board with James Thompson, 15th spot, Rennie Munich's Chevrolet in front. You can just see the Chevy creeping away in the distance. Yellow flags here, so no overtaking. And Valente, they're going to drag him this way towards the camera. Okay, well, watch Tarquini on the right-hand side of your screen. Just great at getting away from the standing start. Lopez goes, right, you get over that side. Tarquini goes, okay, I'll take the inside line. Lopez has done the job at that stage. Again, look how much quicker the Honda's got away. Both of them, and Montero was lightning.
Yeah.
But Lopez just squeezes Tarquini off the racing line,
so
gives him room.
He's got to slow it down more into turn 1.
It was contact. That's why Lopez went out so wide, because Thiago got into the back of Gabriello, who just touched the Citroen as it was turning in. You see now, if you're not going to win the championship, that's where you get spun and the pack hits you.
Yeah.
And those little breaks that are not of your making, those little breaks, if that was Ivan, he'd have been caught by somebody else. This year, other years not, but this year he would have. And there again, Dusan Borkovic.
It looked, to be honest, you can see there's 2 big black lines coming from a long way back, so it looks like he has locked his transmission.
Yeah. And I think maybe he was just too far offline, and it's a bit dirtier there and much less grippy than on the racing line. But you saw the little fist bump between the two. No hard feelings from Valente. You know, nothing you can do now. He's just going to worry about where the car goes and whether the team get a chance to work on it and whether it can be fixed to start on pole for race 2. Green flag at the end of the straight now. There is Jose Maria Lopez, your race leader. 4 laps in. Ivan Muller down the inside of Thiago Montero. Montero pinches him at the exit, drifts out too wide. Doors wide open for Muller. He comes back on as well. And Montero a long way back down, but Chilton has got by, so Muller is now not behind the Honda. He's in the same position behind Tom Chilton. Rats, that didn't work for him again. And again, Harry, things that are not of your own making, well, that kind of was. Thiago Montero battling with Norbert Michelic and Tom Coronel. The Hondas, as you suggested might be the case, are giving up speed very early. Even Rob Huffer's in that queue now.
I wonder if Montero has a problem there. That looked a little bit of a strange off there. You know, he kind of ran. It looked like he might have outbraked himself slightly, but he seemed to be off the circuit for a long, long time. Yeah,
he went a long way off, didn't he? And don't forget he had that tap at the beginning in the back of Gabrielli's car. Don't think that would have damaged steering or braking. Gabrielli, with that little front-end biff into the Citroen, was more likely to be in trouble. With Mikhail Kovslowski there, 13th spot for him. And there's Thiago Montero. Montero, well, just not really the brakes he wanted here. He was hoping to get on the podium. He's down in 7th. Montero, Michelic, Coronel, Huff, Binani, Morbidelli, that's the queue you're looking at there. And they are all bunched up now, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, you can see Lopez just set his fastest lap, but looking at the previous lap, Lopez is lapping, you know, sort of the best part of half a second faster than Tarquini, lap on lap.
Yeah.
There's a lot left in that, where at the start of the race, we could see the Honda sticking with him a little bit. You look at Muller, though, Muller's best lap is the best part of the second away from Lopez's best lap. And that's obviously because he's stuck in the traffic. Yeah. It just shows you how important that early break that Lopez managed to make speed for him.
Coronel drifting up behind the black car of Norbert Michelic. That's the battle for 8th place. There it is. And Michelic keeps his nose in front. Coronel very disappointed not to make it through into Q2. Really struggled to get the best out of the car here. The car looking very sideways. The Chevys, all the Chevys looking very sideways. The Citroens looking like they were drift cars half the time. The only one who seemed to be able to keep it under control was Jose Maria Lopez, and that's why he was 9/10 or something quicker than his teammates, a quarter of a second quicker than either of the Hondas. that were second and third in qualifying. You can hear the tyres scrubbing there as the big fat slicks scrabble for grip. No help from the aero. It's all mechanical at that stage, and they're sort of scrubbing across the track.
That's quite interesting as well. Chilton has just set his personal best lap on the previous lap, where everybody else is about a second slower than their previous best. So that's indicative that the Chevrolet is starting to come into its strong point now.
Well, the other thing, of course, is that Chilton is now in clear air in front of Muller, where he was behind them. So now he's able to race at his own speed, whereas somebody like Coronel here, for instance, can't. He's being held up. Well, this is the Muller and Montero incident. So Thiago just goes a long way off, and let's watch on board. I mean, he just sort of heads off into virgin territory.
It's almost like his brakes didn't have anything left.
Or it didn't steer.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't turning, and he almost ended up there under the foot of our grandstand. And there Chilton went through. So Chilton was gifted the spot, and that's why he's now setting quicker laps. He's now in 4th place. 3.1 behind Sebastian Loeb. Coronel looking at Mikulits. Mikulits defends in the black number 5 car. Further back, you can see Gianni Morbidelli shaping up a move on Mehdi Benani. So again, the Chevrolets, I mean, Harry, they always have been very kind on their tyres, and RML haven't forgotten all of how to do that. So it looks again as though on this low grip but high abrasion surface, they are nursing their tyres well.
Yeah, definitely. And it obviously, like you say, he is in clear air, which helps, but you know, against everybody else who is also in clear air, he's still setting personal best. Again, he's beat his personal best again on the previous lap, where most others, other than Ma and the Citroen behind him, but maybe he's getting towed along a little bit by him.
Yeah, he's starting to get closer to Muller as well, Benoit Ma. There's Tom Chilton getting into turn 1, just a little bit of angle of the dangle being dialed off there. Again, able to keep Muller behind. Teammates, of course, last year at RML Chevrolet, and this year rivals. The RML boys, we were having long chats with them yesterday about how they've built the cars up and how much they've carried over from last year's car, and essentially as much as humanly possible was the answer, which has always been the RML way. You know, when they changed from the Rossetti to the Cruise, all the grubby bits stayed the same for the first season, and then they developed that once they've got the aero and the body and everything else working the way they want it.
The classic case of don't fix what doesn't need fixing, I guess. You know, use the bits that you know work and then develop the new bits on top of that, and then, you know, if that then means that you have to redevelop the new other bits, as the suspension and the gun bits and so on, then you can do that at a later date when you have a clear package underneath you.
Our race leader, Jose Maria Lopez, 2 seconds ahead of Gabriele Tarquini. Coronel, massive moment there as he tries to twitch it into the corner, still trail braking all the way in, but throwing it in sideways has worked. He
that was a mega move.
Yeah, I mean, that was a rally-style pass, wasn't he? That was a motorcycle. It backs it in, and he's facing in the right direction, just drills it, and he's got the traction there. And again, that shows how good the traction is on the Chevy.
Yeah, that little bit of sideways has meant he's been able to get on full throttle a little bit sooner, which is how he managed to outdrag him. And the angle that it was at managed to line him up perfectly for coming off the corner and getting up the inside of Mitchell's. But yeah, it looked great.
Driving it like his old BMW, as we just saw our TC2 leader, who's Franz Engsler ahead of Pasquale Di Sabatino. Just see John Philippi there in the second of the Campos Racing Larders, Leons, and in fact he's being passed by Nikita Mismulia, the new Russian driver. So I'm not sure, I'm assuming that Nikita must have raced here in Russian touring cars before, and John Philippi doesn't know the track, but that's a good performance to come into a car you're not familiar with in an all-Spanish team, and for the young Russian to be out racing Philippi, who's been in the car since the beginning of the season. Here a big lock-up from Gabriele Tarquini. Sebastian Loeb drifting out there as well, though, way out towards the fringes of the track, and out there, Harry, lies the grey stuff and the lack of traction.
Here's that move again. Look, you can just see him turning it in on opposite lock, and there he was just on throttle so much sooner. Miculec is in mid-understeer, struggling to get on full throttle, and Coronel was just able to bang his foot down. And
well, there you go. You know, maybe that's the race setup you need now on a Chevrolet, something that's really loose, and back it into the corners. You know, if you've got a tighter corner like that, back it in, get it lined up straight for the exit. You know, apex is all very well, but only if you've really got the grip for the car. You know, chucking it in like that really works.
It's proper MotoGP stuff.
Yeah, it was, isn't it? Excellent. Can't wait to see that at Spa at the bus stop. Boom. Lopez leads. Tarquini and Loeb you saw battling for second and third. Chilton and Muller fourth and fifth. And at this rate of progress, Ivana's gone from sixth on the grid to fifth in 8 laps. So half the race is made up one spot. He's not going much further up the order, is he? Even if he gets by Tom Chilton, even if he forces the mistake and Chilton runs wide and Muller snaffles by, he's going to get to Loeb, maybe, but he's not going to pass him. And just after I praised him, Nikita Misiulia gets it wrong the very next lap and parks it hard in the barriers. And I think that's the run up to turn... Oh, is that...
Yeah,
no, it's not at the run. Is that the final corner?
Yeah,
It's the final corner, turn 15. So yellow flags are out again at the end of the long straight. So that means no overtaking. So Coronel did the move on Montero, on Mikulic rather, at the right time. Got by him.
That's a shame, because that is a good uptaking opportunity which is now going to be gone. We saw that last year when we had the incident at turn 1, that's turn 15, so yeah. But yeah, that is a great overtaking opportunity which is now being rubbed away.
Yellow flags out at turn 15 as Jose Maria Lopez circumnavigates it for the 9th time. Heading on to lap 10 of 16 here. Looking well in control. 2.9 seconds now ahead of the Tarquini-Loeb battle. And again, it's important for Lopez not just to win, but for Tarquini and here Chilton to hold off his teammates as Muller looks to the inside. Not a great time to cut to Mikhail Kozlowski. Did Muller make the move or not? He was all over Chilton into turn 3. Ballard has come across the line, 14th Thompson, 15th Kozlowski. Huff is in 10th place. Unfortunately, that doesn't put him on the reverse grid for race 2 as it might have done in the old days. And as we see from Muller, Chilton still in front. And that turn 3, that long sweeping right-hander, Harry, it's a really tantalising place to try and have a lunge as the driver in front uses the wide racing line.
Yeah, there's one line through there, but by being on the racing line, it kind of opens the door, so it does open a bit of an opportunity for someone to dive up the inside. And if they do, then if you're on the right line, you can't come back across because their car's in the way. So it can be a good place to sneak a little opportunity, which is what we saw Muller doing there.
But what it means is that the car that's being chased has to hug the inside of the corner rather than using the ideal line. That makes both of them slow, and that's why the 2nd, 3rd and the 4th, 5th battles are both dropping away so quickly from Jose Maria Lopez. It's not that the cars aren't as quick, it's that he's using the ideal racing line, straightening out the corners as much as possible, getting on the power as early as possible. When you're defending, as Tiago Montero in 2nd in that red, white and green Honda and the black and white Chevy of Tom Chilton are, you can't use all the roads. You've got to think about keeping the guy behind, makes you slower. Yeah,
you're right, and by doing that, obviously it compromises your exit into the next corner, which is, it's not just one corner it affects you on, it's probably 3 or 4, so you're exactly right there.
Down into turn 1 with Sebastian Loeb, hard on the brakes, trying to find a way past Gabriele Tarquini. Well, good luck with that, because that is one of the toughest jobs in World Touring cars, is getting by Tarquini when he doesn't want to let you by. I was going to say when you're not his teammate, but in fact, sometimes when you're his teammate, it's not an easy job either. He sort of has the Sebastian Vettel approach to team orders. He's quicker than you. Well, let him come by then. Yeah, okay, thanks. Yellow flags out at the final corner. And they will hopefully rescue Nikita Misiulia's car in the next couple of moments. Hugo Volante and Dusan Morkovic already down there after colliding earlier in the race. So it's becoming a bit of a burial ground for dead cars.
You can see them struggling for grip there with the onboard cameras. You can hear them getting on and off the throttle and having to really play with the throttle to get the car to turn in and to carry on pulling through the centre of the corner. The actual lap time drop-off's about a second lap for everybody on the grid now, bar Coronel, who's obviously in pure air and hasn't been previously.
Well, the slowest man last lap was in the top 10. Was Norbert Mikulic, 142.6, and Rob Huff, 142.8. Third slowest, 142.2, race leader Jose Maria Lopez. So maybe he's just relaxing a little bit. Maybe he's just, because he's the leader, slowing down a little more in the yellow flag zone, maybe than he might otherwise want to do. You don't want to set a fast sector when the yellow flags are out.
Yeah, exactly. And he doesn't need to. He's got enough of a gap there. He can just coast at home now, look after the car, look after the tyres, don't take any silly risks. That'll probably be in his driving style, I think, rather than necessarily in the car.
Yeah. In fact, this lap he's just completed, a 141.89 for him. Tarquini behind at 141.82. Loeb a 141.95. So in fact, Lopez has just picked up the pace a little fraction there, and making sure that the gap doesn't come down below the 2.5 seconds that he currently has over the battle for second. As we watch the battle for fourth, Tom Chilton holding off Yvonne Muller. Really interesting on board there with Yvonne. You heard him get on the throttle and you heard the electronics modulating the engine note because it was trying to spin the wheels up. And this is one of the things that we think Citroën have got a real advantage with this year, apart from having 12 months of testing to refine the car. So even if it's empirically no better, they understand it better and it's finer tuned. But of course, coming from rallying where traction is everything.
Yeah.
Again, you can hear it modulating the throttle. Even though probably the driver's got his foot buried, the electronics are just making sure there's not too much wheel spin, you're not damaging your tyres.
It's all the drivability. It's so important as to how the turbo comes in. And as we know, these cars have got several dials on the steering wheel, which allow them to back off and retard ignition and boost, ultimate boost, and where the boost comes in. And it's like traction control, if you like, but it's not allowed to be poor traction control.
Dusan Borkovic's car is coming back on pit road, and that's got to be hopeful for Hugo Valente that he will get a chance to come in as well. His car is not with the team yet, but they need it back so they can try and make sure it's ready for race 2. Battle for second at Moscow Raceway on lap 13 of 16. Sebastian Loeb in third spot in his Citroën. In fact, 4 Citroëns in the top 6. Lopez first, Loeb third, Muller fifth, Marr in sixth, the new boy. So again, he's having a good race. He qualified strongly. Harry, he was 9th on the grid, so he got through into Q2. No dramas, first time out in the car. Right, he might have had a couple of days on the simulator and done actually a lot more time at the track than Lopez possibly. So, he actually was fairly dialed in. But it's one thing doing it on the simulator, it's another thing when you're on the track and dealing with the real world and the real lack of grip and the temperature and everything else. Yeah,
you're right. It's not like a simulator is it's a very impressive tool, and they are good to learn circuits and to understand what the car will do at what stage of the race, and especially something which will be as advanced as the Citroën one. But it's not the ultimate thing. You can't feel, you don't have that adrenaline, you don't have that feeling through the seat of your pants. You're not in the actual car, so there is a difference, yeah.
Sebastian Loeb in the number 9 Citroën in third place is dropping off the back of Gabriele Tarquini. Honda designer Andrea Adamo again not here this weekend, still back at Yasport working on evolutions and developments for the car. And with just 2 weeks between here and Spa, 1 week will be spent travelling back out of Central Russia to Western Europe, or Western Russia to Western Europe. And the following week, perhaps they'll get a chance to maybe do a test day somewhere with the Hondas, and maybe with the Citroëns.
That was interesting, the in-car footage there from the Honda pulling away from the Citroën down the straight there. We know it's fast, but it seems to be later on along the straight, so it could be aero dependent. It may be that it's a little bit more slippery as a shell, but towards the end of the straight you could see just fairly level pegging off the corner, and then just towards the end it had a little bit of an advantage.
Also interested to see the way that Yvonne Muller is not quite all over Tom Chilton anymore. Maybe he's giving his tyres a lap or two of a breather before having one final assault. But it does seem that the Chevrolet is coming stronger in the race as the Citroën is fading.
Yeah, as does the Honda, and the Chevys seem to be holding their own against the Citroën on race pace. But over the ultimate lap, obviously, we've seen the Citroën's been absolutely stunning. Yeah,
Citroën can certainly produce the goods, and there's no question that their driver talent is right up there as well. Looking here at the battle, just around the 10th place mark. Mikulits in 10th, and then Huff in 11th, Benani in 12th, the other red, white and green Honda. Gianni Morbidelli we were riding on board with in 12th place ahead of Rennie Munich, his teammate, in 13th. And still, Tarquini ahead of Loeb. The gap was down to 0.3, 0.2. It's now out to 0.5 of a second. And Harry, we're saying, oh, that gap's growing. We're talking, 0.2 of a second. It's about as long as it takes to change a normal manual road car from 3rd to 4th gear.
Yeah.
It's a tiny blink of an eye, but it does mean that Loeb is still not able to get up that straight or down this one into a position to attack the Honda.
He's looking pretty racy on the brakes though, Loeb, isn't he? Hard to tell. Only one lap left. I don't see it coming myself, but he's certainly all over the back of him. It's going to take a mistake, I think, from Tarquini, which we don't often see.
Yeah, and again, Muller, you know, Tom Chilton held him off in identical cars last year, so he knows that it is possible to hold Muller off. You've just got to be on the right track and put your car in the right place, and Muller, on lap 15 of 16, is looking ever more anxious to get by.
Yeah, he's looking racy, isn't he? But he can't afford to hit Tom and get a grid penalty, or which we saw last year as well on occasion.
Well, this is round 11. We've only actually had 9 races out of what should have been 10. Ivan's already got 3 zeros out of 9 starts. If he racks up another 0 before the end of the championship in Macau in November, there's not surely the earthly chance that he can win the title. I mean, he really is up against it in a way that we have never experienced before. Franz Engster leading from Pasquale Di Sabatino in the TC2 class, and this, of course, is for the 1.6 turbo cars from last year's touring cars. And there is John Philippi in 3rd spot. The Frenchman was having a battle with his garage partner, Nikita Misiulia of Russia, before Misiulia threw it off from 3rd place.
Will Muller have a go here? Look.
Well, let's have a look. Chilton's defending. He's covering the inside now. Is Muller forcing him to do that as he sold him the dummy so he can cut back on the inside? Chilton's got to park it there to stop Muller getting the run up the inside. But still, look at the traction from the Citroen.
Yeah, look at the grunt.
He's pulled alongside. He's got the grippy racing line, and still Tom gets the door shut.
He's got it.
Muller's leaving him offline, and through he goes, 4th place. Well, he needed to force that, didn't he?
Yeah.
But he needed to force it without contact.
A really well-worked move as well. He lined that up 3 corners in advance before the overtake actually took place, and Tom's driven really well to hold him back that long, but yeah, I think it was coming.
Well, when he forced him to the driver's left into corner 15 onto the straight, that was where Tom was committed to closing the door on the inside, and he was always then going to be battling against Muller, who had his head up. And Muller knew the move he wanted, and he forced the counter from Tom Chilton that allowed him then to carry out the rest of the plan. It's like a game of chess, you know, you move your queen to there, he must counter it or it's check, and that then allows you to move the rest of your pieces. And Muller used the next 3 corners exactly as I'm sure he had in his head. Yeah,
he sold them the dummy, didn't he, and didn't actually take the move, but then that compromised him for the next corner, which then had an effect on the next corner, and as we saw, the following corner he made the pass.
And Lopez still leading, 3.1 seconds clear from Tarquini, clinging to 2nd place. Loeb in 3rd. Well, Tarquini didn't get pole here, didn't have a Honda 1-2 on the grid. I mean, it was only Lopez that could stop them. Loeb and Muller didn't. But Lopez has done his job in qualifying and in the race. Tarquini will take 2nd, but it's a runaway win for Jose Maria Lopez. Guarded his line at the start and shut Tarquini out and takes victory here. So a big win for Jose Maria Lopez. He knew he was under pressure mentally as well as physically. It is win number 4 of his World Touring Car career. Tarquini 2nd, Loeb in 3rd, Ivan Muller takes 4th place. Vital points perhaps for the end of the season ahead of Tom Chilton. And as they race the line, Rob Huff defending, Rob Huff ahead of Mehdi Benani, defending 10th place. But Lopez did exactly what he needed to do. So Citroen 1, 3, 4 and 6. That's quite impressive from 4 cars on the grid, all 4 in the top half dozen.
Yeah.
The FIA WTCC is delivered by DHL.
Jose Maria Lopez, 4th time a race winner in the World Touring Car Championship, and he has not even competed in half a season yet. Won on his first weekend in Argentina, and he's now claimed his 3rd race win this season. This is the 10th start of the year That's not a bad batting average, Harry. That's a 30% hit rate.
Yeah, that is good. And he's driving really well. You know, he deserves every minute of that success, because that effort in qualifying was fantastic. And then what he's done today as well, it does take big balls, for want of a better word, to go around the outside with a double apex fast left-hander like he did there at the start, especially after a little bit of contact. You know, he knew that he had a threat from the two Honda boys, who made it pretty clear that they were going to be aggressive from the start, and he was as aggressive and, you know, came away with the advantage.
Well, there is Hugo Valente's car coming back on the flatbed, and not before time either. It's got to come in. It's coming the wrong way up the pit road, so it's got to go to the Campos team.
Quite a lot of rear suspension damage by the look of things. I'd be surprised if they do that in 15 minutes.
That's really tough. And if they start working before the 15 minutes, then he drops to the back of the grid anyway. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. So Pachito, Jose Maria Lopez, getting his helmet off. Alex Legui is down there. Legs Legui. Let's hear from her in a moment. There's Gabriele, looking pretty happy. So let's hear now from our race winner.
Jose Maria Lopez, winner here, Moscow Raceway. Congratulations, what a race.
Yes, it was incredible. I knew it was going to be difficult to start. Honda has always been able to start a bit better than us. I'm not also the greatest starter in the world, so I knew it was going to be difficult, but you know, I did not a bad start, and then I took outside line them. Tarquini touched me a little bit, so it was a bit of a moment, but I think, you know, I knew it was very important for me to keep in the front. Then, you know, I showed the potential of the car. So I want to congratulate to all the team, everybody, mechanics, engineers. This CLSA has been great so far, and you know, I feel so good inside the car. It's amazing. You know, when I first came here, I never imagined to win first race. First time for me in Moscow, very tricky track, but it makes it better. So I'm very happy now. There is a very hard second race. We tried to score good points, so I think the main objective of the weekend was to try to pull away the gap from the second in the championship, and so far it's been good. So I'm very happy for that.
Yeah, that you certainly are doing. Congratulations, Pachito. Well done.
Thank you very much.
So thank you, Alex, and congratulations, Pachito. I'm going to have to brush up on my Spanish. I don't know half enough phrase to say well done, good job. There's Gabriele Tarquini, Sebastian Loeb. Good battle between friendly rivals. And Harry, that's one of the great things about this championship. You know, visor down, deadly serious, helmet off, lots of smiles.
Yeah, they've got to be, because, you know, going all over the world together. And here we go, here's another view from the start. We saw Lopez obviously squeeze him over to the left there. There's the hit. All the way around the outside, and just keep the foot in and keep across the run-off on the outside there. That's why you're going to just cut back in and take that lead. But yeah, going back to the drivers, they're obviously going all over the world together. They're going through a lot, and you know, they do need to get on with each other, and they respect each other. They're all, you know, top-class drivers, so they have to do it. About to hear from Franz Ensler.
Franz Ensler, I almost don't need to introduce you. You are winning every single time. Congratulations, another win here in Moscow.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really, really happy, especially on this track. I like it so much. It's up and down, and where we built this track, I was involved from the first time, from the beginning on, and that is why this victory is so specially for me. So I'm happy, and thanks a lot to my guys, to my staff, to my engineers, everybody. They did a great, great job. Thanks a lot.
We're very happy for you too.
He's just full of life, isn't he? 52 years old, 53 at the end of the season, and still he's just like a puppy with a new toy. You know, he just can't get enough of this. He's just loving life.
A real character, isn't he? And he's been in this for a long, long time.
So race one is done here at Moscow Raceway. Very quick turnaround before we go straight back out onto the grid effectively for race two. Engineers with some work to do to the cars of Dusan Borkovic, to Hugo Valente, and also to Nikita Misiulia, who has had a bit of an off and lost the nose of his Seat. So lots of work to do before race two, round 12 of the championship here at Moscow Raceway.
Race of Russia here at Moscow Raceway.
Third place man Sebastian Loeb of France for Total Citroën Racing. Steps onto the sunny podium. Italy's Gabriele Tarquini for Castrol Honda Racing takes second place. His 5th career win, his 4th of this season, though, for Jose Maria Lopez of Argentina for Total Citroën Racing.
And the winner of the Yokohama Trophy is Franz Engstler.
And Franz Engstler, our winning Yokohama Trophy driver for Liqui Team Engstler. Let's hear the anthem of our winning driver. And the anthem of our winning constructor, Citroën. So our winning constructor, Total Citroën Racing, our winning driver, Jose Maria Lopez. I said a little earlier that that was his 3rd race win. It's not, it's his 4th race win of the season. It's the 10th start, so that's a 40% hit rate, not a 30% hit rate. I grossly underestimated him. 3rd place for Sebastian Loeb. Talking to Jerome Roussel, the PR man at Citroën Racing, who said Argentina is just going to be insane. Not only is Petrito a big national hero already. I mean, when he won a race in the BMW last year against the odds, you know, with no run-up, it was an enormous festival. Here they've had half a year to get ready for him to arrive. And Loeb, because he's at 7 consecutive wins in Argentina or something in the World Rally Championship event, he's a massive superstar in Argentina. It's going to be absolutely mental at Termas del Rio Hondo.
Yeah, to see their local boy racing against someone like Sebastian Loeb and taking the team and probably beating him.
Absolutely,
but,
absolutely. It's just double joy for the Argentine fans, and you can't see any way that Lopez is not still going to be the championship leader when they get there. Well, there's obviously a rota for receiving the Citroën trophies. They're assuming that they're going to receive one at pretty much every race, and so your name's on the list. Imagine if it's your turn and they don't actually win. God, there's my chance to glory on the podium.
I'm sure they'll get another count at some point, but actually, that said, there are a lot of guys down there, so.
And Franz Engstler wins again in the Yokohama Trophy category. Has been beaten this season by teammate Pasquale Di Sabatino. And actually, Di Sabatino's best chance, I think, against France will probably come in Spa next time out, because it is a track that Pasquale has raced on much more frequently, I think, than any of the others that we've been to, with the exception of maybe Monza. But then France has been around long enough probably to have done lots more races at everywhere than Pasquale has done at anywhere. So you can see the Citroën VIP group just above. The boys giving a big thumbs up. Engstler, Tarquini, Alain Menu, when he was racing with Chevrolet a couple of seasons ago, we had guys in their late 40s, early 50s, and just showing no signs of losing the enjoyment. Harry, this is what every kid that ever sits in a go-kart and wants to do more, we've got 50-year-olds now doing the same thing that they were doing when they were in their 10s, 12, 13 years old, 15 years old, and loving every minute of it still. It's just the most phenomenal thing that these guys are still so passionate about it, and that's why they're survivors. That's why they're still doing it.
Yeah, I was going to say that interview with Franz is a perfect example. And you know, you look at the Sabatino. Franz has probably been racing at Spa since before the Sabatino was born.
There you go. Exactly right. And, you know, and you might say, well, why is he doing it? And the reason he's doing it is because he can't think of anything better to do in life than to race cars.
It's that bug, isn't it? Once it bites you, and once you've experienced the thrill of racing and the speed, and you know, you can't walk away from it.
And no matter how many times you get kicked in the teeth by the frustration, still that moment, just the exhilaration of driving the car is enough. Lopez leads the championship now with 200 points and a full race weekend, including pole position and both race wins, ahead of the man who's now second in the championship, Sebastian Loeb, who has moved a point ahead of Ivan Muller. So he's 58 and 59 points. The maximum you can score from the weekend, if you win everything there is to win, is 55. He can basically take Spa off, and still in Argentina, he'll be the championship leader.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. We are at the halfway point of the championship. He's got a full weekend in hand. He's got two massive disasters tucked away. He's got two get-out-of-jail cars. I mean, the confidence and the self-assurance that is going to give him as he continues to creep away is going to be massive. You can see Alex down there beside Hugo Valente's car. We're going to try and find out what the deal is there. They're trying to decide whether it is worth working on the car.
Yokohama, your tire. The FIA WTCC is delivered by DHL. Where performance matters, you'll find Total Quartz.